Good morning, welcome to ANZ News. End of the week, Friday the 23rd of April. Nice ups and downs for gold and silver. And Bitcoin in an interesting position to see what comes next. Today we're talking gold though. How much gold does China really have and why? Whilst Western demand for gold is subdued, demand in the East is booming. The latest Swiss export figures speak volumes. This from Reuters. I'll just include that letter from them here, but huge shipments to India drive Swiss gold exports to 10th month high. More broadly from Business Standard, imports during the first 3 months of 2021 more than doubled in the world's second biggest consumer to almost 190 tonnes, according to Bloomberg calculations based on the data. We talked to the renewed surge of gold now starting, not captured by the March data shown previous, into China and the possible reasons behind that. We mentioned the amount of gold analysts believe is being held by China beyond what is declared. The following article that we're going to talk about from Money Week steps us through just how big that holding might be, how it is accumulated and the reasons behind it. It's a worthwhile read. We'll try and summarise here. China owns a lot more gold than it's letting on, and here's why. It has been clear for some time that China has designs on the US dollar global reserve currency status. For China, this is simply a return to its rightful position on top of the world. To us Western usurpers, the implications of this are just enormous. 9 in 10 central banks are working on digital currencies, according to research by FinTech and IT Benchmarks in 2021. But none, except perhaps the Bahamas, are as advanced as China, which has been working on it since at least 2014. Word is it wants to be fully functional in time for the Beijing Olympics in 2022. Forget Rishi Sunak's Bitcoin, China is way ahead. The Wall Street Journal, meanwhile, reports that Chinese broadcaster CGTN has been circulating an animation in English of a man in an American flag shirt being knocked out by a golden coin with the stamp of the digital yuan. One word struck out for me was that Wall Street Journal piece, golden. Gold is some useless inert asset, right, whose heyday in the 19th century is irrelevant to modern finance as the horse is to modern transport. Today we return to a favourite theme of ours, one that we haven't looked at since 2019. How much gold does China have? For those with short attention spans who don't want to read to the end of the article or listen to me, I'll cut straight to the chase. China has much more gold than it says it does. In fact, China has more gold than the US. Its enormous gold hoards are all part of its grand global reserve currency status designs. Right, time to back up those assertions. So let's do an audit. Audits involve a lot of numbers, and too many numbers can get a little overwhelming, so we'll try to keep them to a mentally digestible minimum. But let me start with perhaps the contextual figure and anchor that in your mind's US gold holdings. Official records say or show that US owns some 8,133 tonnes, most of it held at Fort Knox. It is the world's largest owner, or so we think. And gold comprises 77% of its official foreign exchange reserves. China's officially declared holdings of 1,948 tonnes make up just 3% of its 3.2 trillion in foreign exchange holdings, but the real number is much larger than that. China has been the world's largest gold producer since 2007. This past decade, it has produced about 15% of all the gold mined in the world. Last year, it produced 380 tonnes. That's 20% more than the world's second largest producer, Australia. Since 2000, China has mined roughly 6,500 tonnes. More than half of Chinese gold production is state-owned. The China National Gold Group Corporation alone accounts for 20%. Already that official 1,948 figure looks doubtful. Crucially, China keeps the gold it mines. Exporting of domestic mine production is not allowed. With reserves in decline at home, Chinese mining companies have been buying assets abroad, across Africa, South America and Asia. International production exceeded domestic production by about 15 tonnes last year. As well as being the world's biggest producer, China is the world's biggest importer. It is hard to get precise import figures, but we do know that, for example, via Hong Kong alone, over 6,000 tonnes has entered the country since 2000. Add that to the cumulative gold production since 2000 and you get a figure of roughly 13,200 tonnes. Whether imported, mined or recycled, most of the gold that enters China goes through the Shanghai Gold Exchange, or the SGE, including the gold imported from Hong Kong. So HGE withdrawals, for which we do have numbers, can act as something of an approximation for the demand. And it is possible to get numbers for SGE withdrawals. Since 2008, roughly 20,000 tonnes have been withdrawn from the SGE. Then we have to add in gold held in China, whether as bullion or jewellery prior to 2000. The World Gold Council estimates a figure of 2,500 tonnes in privately held jewellery. If you add domestic mining and official reserves, you get a figure of around 4,000 tonnes. Nick Lard of goldchartsareus.com, perhaps the world's leading gold data expert, has cobbled it all together to produce this next chart we're going to show you, showing cumulative gold held in China to be around 28,911 tonnes. I've spoken to numerous analysts, Ross Norman, Bronskiki, and Koos Janssen, and they all arrive at similar estimates. Here's that chart here. In addition, there is gold entering China that is not accounted for by SGE withdrawals. Norman points out that the People's Bank of China, or the PBOC, the central bank, likes to buy 12.5 kilo bars. These do not trade on the SGE. Also, the PBOC often uses dollars on exchanges in London, Dubai, and Switzerland, while the SGE sells its gold in yuan. The army too owns gold and does not have to declare its purchases. China almost certainly owns a lot more gold than the US does. So how much of that huge hoard is state-owned? 40%, 50%, 60%. Norman guesses 50%. Shkeki, formerly of the Perth Mint, says 55%. There are many state agencies, on top of the army and the central bank, which buy gold. The State Administration of Foreign Exchange and China Investment Corporation, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, is one. At 50%, the implication is that China owns roughly 14,500 tonnes. That is 1.8 times more than the US. It may be that only 20 or 30% is state-owned. China has been famously encouraging its citizens to buy gold since 2008, and the SGE has actually stated that only consumers buy gold over its exchange. But this almost doesn't matter. This encouragement to buy gold, as one reader resident in China has reported to me, kicked off a frenzy of laundry as China's citizens rushed to exchange the hordes of Huqi cash they built up. In my local bank in Shanghai in 2009, I was standing behind a Chinese bloke unloading bundles of euros, US dollars, Singapore dollars, and Swiss francs in exchange for 5 kilo bars of gold across the counter. Gold ownership is registered, so the government knows how much each citizen has. But it's commonly thought that, should Beijing invite private holders of gold to support a major government currency initiative by pledging their gold as a kind of war bond, then there would be a 99% pickup. The vast majority of Chinese people trust their government, especially when it comes to returning China to the top of the world. This means a considerable amount of extra gold can be very quickly mobilized to participate in whatever Beijing is planning. Chinese gold holders do not necessarily share the same mistrust of government held by Western gold bugs. The party is seen as a good housewife to the nation. The disruption it would cause means there is no way China can declare such large official holdings. Not yet, anyway. There would be an unwanted surge in both yuan and the gold price. The government's $3.2 trillion of US dollar foreign exchange reserves would be devalued. To declare so much gold would be a direct challenge to American supremacy, which China is not ready yet for. Parity first and then supremacy. For now, they follow Deng Xiaoping's doctrine of we must not shine too brightly until everything is ready. US President Donald Trump wrong-footed the Chinese. That, and COVID, the great accelerator, may have brought schedules forward. Chinese President Xi Jinping is known as a man of destiny, and he may want the Great Ascension to happen on his watch. But backing its money, if only in part, with gold, as empires on the rise are wont to do, would give China great credibility in a world awash with money printing. That animation of a man in an American flag shirt being knocked out by a golden coin with the stamp of the digital yuan may not be so fantastic. He who owns the gold makes the rules. Nice big article there for you today. Remember, if you're after the physical stuff, anzibullion.com.au, gold, silver and platinum. As we've talked about this week, platinum's had a bit of a run. After cryptocurrencies, buying the dip or just continuing to grow that bag, ansleywealth.com.au. If you're after a cryptocurrency built and backed by real gold and silver and stored at Reserve Vault, check out goldsilverstandard.com if you haven't done already. Enjoy your weekend, everyone, and we'll catch you on Monday for more news.